All right, welcome to the Vault Report, Loyola Chicago edition. I'm here with head coach Drew Valentine. How we doing? We are 5 days away, I believe. How we feeling?
Feeling good, feeling good. We've had a really good off season so far, and um, I like where the group is at. Obviously, we got to continue to do what we can to try to control our own destiny and try to manage, practices and things like that to try to get us to the start of the official season. So, but love where this group is at as of right now.
Absolutely. And I know you guys have had I don't know, maybe one or two of those, uber secret scrimmages. You had an exhibition. So you've seen your guys go against, obviously other players, which I know they're always excited about, you guys as well. You probably have what, 3 or 4 more practices left. What have you taken from those, specifically that exhibition and maybe those scrimmages that kind of those finishing touches? I know it's never a finishing touch. You got all season. You're going to continue to get better. But where are you right now? What are you looking for as you kind of gear up for game number one?
I think what we tried to do was make sure that we had the depth needed to just you don't have to rely on a certain individual to carry your team and your group. That's what this place has been about. Has been the culture, the collective totality of everybody on the team and everybody just doing their job, and that's what's led to success. So our depth is, I think, in a decent spot right now as long as we stay healthy. um I think we've been really, really efficient shooting the ball. Obviously, like in our exhibition, we were only 10 for, I think we were 10 for 32, but for the most part, or 10 for 28 or something like that. But for the most part, we've been really efficient, both from two and from three, shooting the ball. And then I think the new pieces that we've added give us some flexibility, length, physicality, and athleticism on the defensive end of the floor. So those are kind of the three areas that I'm really excited about where this group is at and what that could mean for our team long term.
Absolutely. And you mentioned depth. I was going to talk about, you guys hit the portal, got several guys, obviously, that will have instant impact, highly coveted from around the country. You guys land them. I look at even your depth and size up front and experience. Experience wins in college basketball, especially with these COVID years. A guys like Patrick and Dame, having them on board, how do they fit your system? Anything impressed you? I know you brought them in, so you knew what they were going to bring to the table, but anything that's impressed you just seeing them day in and day out?
Yeah, I think just their overall competitiveness has stood out, but also just their their buy-in and like commitment to doing the small things is refreshing. Obviously, because we have a bunch of young guys that have grown and matured, but also the newcomers that we have, they were all pretty bright. They pick up stuff pretty easy, and they're eager and wanting to learn. Mixed in with them being competitive, and wanting to do well on the floor, not breaking mentally, physically, things like that. So really, really like what the newcomers have brought to us on the floor and in the locker room.
Absolutely. And, a couple of those other guys, talking about Watson, someone who's played, Des, he's played in the Atlantic 10, familiar with it. Greg Dolan as well, another guy, an all Ivy leaguer. Again, a league that I think is super underrated. What are they going to be able to bring, even offensively, maybe take some of the pressure off, Norris, in the backcourt, in that wing position?
Yeah. You know, the Ivy League was rated on KenPom one league behind A10 last year. And anytime you're able to, obviously it's not, right, but it's right behind. And so anytime you're able to get two all league players from a that high quality of a league, you feel pretty good about who you're adding to your group. And Greg Dolan brings us stability. He's obviously been an elite assist to turnover ratio guy and an elite shooter throughout his career. And he was everybody raved about him when we were talking in the recruit process about his leadership and character. And so couldn't be more pleased with what he's been doing for our program so far. And then Des Watson, I love his attitude, his energy, his charisma, his intensity, his intangibles that he brings to the floor every day. It aligns with what I believe in as a coach. It aligns in the people, aligns with the people that have been successful here in our culture. And I think within our style of play, he's going to get to showcase his two-way ability because he was already a really good defender last year in the A10, but I think he'll be able to showcase his offensive game in a wave where he's driving downhill, but also being able to get the spots and shoot the ball. So, really excited about what those guys add to our backcourt.
Absolutely. And, again, I'm not going to go through the whole roster. Just a couple other guys, we talk about transfers, but you guys also are returning, I think it's about 70% of, minutes coming back. So you have a solid unit coming back. You talk about, I talked to Alston, I think about a month ago, and then obviously, you look at what he did, that jump from D2, and now what the jump that he's making now. He seems just excited about this new group. I'm sure all the guys are. But when you have a group coming back, playing that many minutes. Obviously, mixing transfers in, buy-in is obviously important. There's always a certain amount of minutes. I know everyone's happy now. We haven't played yet, but just what has that been like this offseason, bringing in these guys, but also knowing you got a solid core coming back?
I mean that just means you got competition every day. And my dad told me a long time ago that cream rises to the top. And so I think obviously like it's good to know that you're playing on the floor, but it's also good to know and understand that like if I don't bring it today, then somebody else is gonna take my spot. And so and then just in case of injuries and things like that, like you want to have depth. That's what I believe in. And so I love what the majority of our returners have done this offseason. Guys like Quinn and Dawson, they've been extremely consistent. A guy like Sheldon Edwards has had a really good, back end of summer and fall. And then Phil and Braden, and Tom Welch has even gotten better. His body looks good. I mean, I know there was a couple like highlight videos you can see. I mean, he's 225, 230 now. Moving still the same way that he was before when he was lighter. But Phil, um, you know, last year was his first time playing at, like you said, at that level, but being coached at that level, being demanded to do the things that we were asking him to do on both sides of the floor. And he was just somehow able to come up and, he was 15-6 every night. And I think he's improved drastically with a lot of small things like his pace, his understanding of basketball, on both sides of the floor, and then like his intensity on the defensive side. I think he's really, really improved. And then Braden's just, he's really benefiting and really happy right now because of the growth and development of our returners, but also the newcomers that we have. He doesn't have to shoulder as much. So he's a really happy guy right now.
No, that's great. And just last question. Like I said, the season's upon us. I know a lot of obviously the focus is on you guys. How much have you been able to look at? You guys, are starting the ground running in terms of competition. Top 10 team, FAU playing them. How much have you been able to kind of even focus on them? And again, you guys got a pretty strong, non-conference. What are you looking for early on?
Yeah, I just want to see us compete. FAU is they're a really good team. I've been watching them this week. They are really connected as a group, and when you make mistakes, they make you pay. They remind me a lot of like what our best teams have looked like here. 4 out, drive and kick, a lot of shooting on the floor, a lot of toughness, versatility on both sides of the floor. So the more disciplined team will win the game. And so that's what we're going to really continue to work on. But with that discipline comes a certain level of competition. And it doesn't necessarily need to be reflected in the final score, but it just needs to be the way in which we go about performing or the way we go about fighting through adversity when we get into moments when we're put into adversity. And so I just want to see a group that stays with it, stays connected, and competes no matter what's going on the floor. And I think that'll lead to us having long-term success, which is what we want at the end of the day.
Well, listen, Drew, I appreciate the time. I know it's a busy time. I know you're about to. I know it's always a grind, but the grind of traveling the season. So hopefully you can catch some last minute things you need to do before that kicks off. But we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to kind of catching up with you throughout the season.
Of course, man. Appreciate all you do for our league, man. You're doing an incredible job. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.